Welcome back to NFL Kings. On today's episode, we're going to break down the Week 10 games, starting with the Texans and the Cleveland Browns. Playing at Cleveland, appears as though weather will definitely be a factor in this game, with rain potentially up to 80% chance for rain and winds pushing nearly 30 miles an hour. This will definitely be very similar to the Raiders and Cleveland game that they played previously. However, Texans are a dome team as well, and they do not stop the run at all. They are the worst rush defense in the National Football League. FPI has it at a slight edge toward the Cleveland Browns at 61%, with the over-under. Oops, that is not at 53. It is at 45.5. Forgot to change that over. Forgot when the line moved. So obviously weather was a factor. If you'll notice, the line was at 53. Now it's at 45.5. So obviously that's a major change. We have the Texans ranked 25th and the Browns 13th. The injury report for this game, there shouldn't be much of a factor outside of David Johnson not playing with the concussion. That's probably the biggest injury news as far as players go. Just double check, make sure. Nate Orchard, he's on IR. Yeah, so that should be pretty much the only one that's going to even affect this game at all. And obviously not having David Johnson for a team that already struggles to run the ball. You can see that here at 87.6. That's bottom 5. So bold and blue, that's bottom 5. Bold is bottom 10. They're bottom 5 and bottom 10 in the league, going against a top 5 rushing offense. Now, obviously, lately they haven't been as good. Wyatt Teller was out for the last 3 games. He is returning, folks. That is one of the best guards in football. And so that, combined with most likely Nick Chubb returning as well, should allow them to get back to, closer to that 150 number, maybe more like a 130 number. But obviously when you're going against the worst rushing defense at 158, that's going to play a major factor. I do expect them to hit that. Usually when these two numbers coincide, more often than not, those numbers hit. So definitely something to keep in mind there, especially in a game with bad weather. Obviously, that's going to play a huge factor for a team that does not run the ball very good and will need to run the ball effectively to have a chance in this game. And look at their passing stats are going to shatter theirs, and trending slightly down. Some of that's kind of just a product of the offense they run as well. I don't expect them to be too much over that 200. I would actually consider the under prop, depending upon what it is at. I'm just going to take a look at that prop real quick. What are you at right now? It doesn't look like any major props are going to be available. They like Bayfield's completions. Will Fuller might hit his yard. Yeah, that receiving prop could be hit, but like on a weather day like today, that's going to be tough to say. A lot of these stats are going to be skewed because of weather. The under on Mayfield's passing touchdowns at 1.5. The under on Mayfield's yards could be there. Yeah, 207. So it's a 207.5. That's pretty much right there. You have to consider it for sure, but I'll probably pass. It'll obviously very much be dependent upon kind of game flow as well. But I expect them to run the ball significantly and be able to control the clock. If you'll notice too, so points are going to be very similar. Defensively, they're both very similar. Not great defensively. Texans have been a little bit worse defensively overall. Time of possession numbers are atrocious for really both teams. They haven't been able to control the ball at all the last 3, going against shoot, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Steelers. I mean, I get it, the Steelers, but like, really? I mean, Bengals are top 5 time possession team, so that can be understandable. But and the Jags, Packers, and Titans. I mean, Titans don't control the ball. Packers do. Jags don't really. They're in the middle. So, like, nothing really there to be the reason why that number's so low. That's just how bad they are on third down. Actually, they've been really bad on third down, too, which hopefully he'll have a better day. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that number is right around where it ends up being, which is why the under dropped all the way to 45.5, and it may even drop even more. I mean, honestly, that number may even still be too high based upon, their third down offense, the way their passing offense, the fact that they can't run the ball, that Texans can't run the ball. Like that, those are all major factors. Yard per play on defense, though, that's so bad. Bottom 5 of the league. The last 3, they're just giving up big plays. Their defense is actually playing pretty decent, 5.5. Some of that was the weather here, but I mean, Bengals and Steelers don't average either that great on yards per play. So that can, Steelers are like 5.4. They're not that great either there. Third down defense they're both pretty much bottom of the league in third down defense. So that might actually help the fact that these numbers are so low. Maybe they'll end up being a little bit higher just because of who they're going up against. As well as red zone defense, nothing to write home about. All right. Yeah, so looking at the numbers, obviously favors Cleveland, especially with that rushing attack. Now I'm going to quickly go over to the matchups. Let me just make sure there isn't anything that majorly stands out. Houston's secondary is grading out horribly. It looks like bottom 5 of the league in the secondary. So, Mayfield may actually still be able to make some plays on third down, and that could be a factor as well. You got Wyatt Teller coming back, obviously, and, Cleveland's grading out as one of the best offensive lines in football, so I do expect them to be able to run pretty much down the throats. Wow, Whitney Merciless is having a bad year. Yeah, I mean, their inside linebackers are not good either. Pretty much it's like J.J. Watt having to make a lot of plays. P.J. Hall's actually having a pretty good year, but really more on the run defense. Okay. Yeah, I don't like the matchup for the Houston defense versus Cleveland's offense. I just feel like they're going to control the ball. It's really going to come down to whether or not Mayfield can execute on third down, as to whether this game will even be close. If Mayfield's over 50%, I see it almost as a blowout. Just does not favor Cleveland, or it does not favor the Texans at all. Nothing really. And then you look at the matchup for Myles Garrett going against Tytus Howard, the rookie. That's a big question mark there. He's grading out as a little bit better pass protector, but not great. Their offensive line as a whole is bottom of the league. Laremy Tunsil's pretty much the only guy grading out pretty well. The receivers are obviously pretty solid, and Deshaun Watson, but are they going to really be able to make plays with the wind being what it is? Deshaun doesn't really have the ball that really cuts through the wind, you'd say, in comparison to some of the other guys. So that could be a factor as well. Let me look at that wind direction. So it is going to be more of like a direct headwind, most likely for the stadium location. So that could be a little, maybe just more of a headwind tailwind situation. So that, that could play a little bit of a factor. Maybe that actually doesn't play as big of a factor in the game overall, just because of the fact that it is a headwind tailwind factor. But them just not being able to run the ball, David Johnson being out, having to play with Duke Johnson, I expect them to do a little bit more on the pass game via the running backs. Cleveland's defense is good, but not great. We looked at them statistically. Obviously, haven't been good lately, especially, but they still do have Myles Garrett, who is going to get pressure on Deshaun. Question is, will they be able to get Deshaun on the ground? One thing I'm definitely going to be looking at is Deshaun's rushing prop. That I do see that potentially hitting the just in a game like this, him having to potentially scramble a little bit more, make some plays with his feet, not being able to make some throws. that could be definitely a factor in this game. So overall, we do like Cleveland. Depends on the points that you can kind of get it for. If you can get it for -2.5, that's ideal. I would even almost consider paying for the favorable line just to get that favorable line, because this absolutely could be a 3-point game. But we do favor the Browns. I have it as a Browns touchdown win, so I do have them winning by a touchdown. So I would favor the -3. I just prefer to get it at the -2.5 if I am going to make that bet. You could even do a teaser for a +3, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I love that. The under would have been in play if you would have got it early in the week at 45.5. That's pretty much right on. We have it at projection at 46, so that's pretty much right on. So obviously, if you can do, I am doing quite a few bets where we're doing the 1 for 13 on the Browns, so that has them winning but not blowing them out, which is kind of where I kind of lean in a game like this. It absolutely could be a 2-touchdown win for the Browns if Deshaun does not play that well, if the rush defense is atrocious, and if they can't run the ball. Plus, if Mayfield can do a really good job on third down to get that number above 50%, then I expect them to win and win pretty easily. Obviously, that's going to come down to coaching and execution, which definitely does favor the Cleveland Browns. They definitely have a significant coaching advantage as well. So that's kind of where we lean. Recommendation is for the Cleveland Browns to win this game. Good luck to all of you in this game, and check us out for more content on the rest of not only Week 10 but also the rest of the season. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and we'll be going through pretty much all the rest of the games for this week. So check out those videos as well, and have a great and good luck to the rest of you for Week 10 and the NFL seasons.